Hey, sports fans, Rideshare Commando. I've been kind of quiet for the last day and a half, and that's just me trying to recollect myself. Some people are in Seattle, especially around the holiday season. Um, you'll see a lot of people that they they act touched, and that's a unique situation to deal with back to back to back to back to back. So I'm just recharging my batteries right now. Anyway, so the Uber market update. Over in the UK, Uber has lost not one, not two, but three licenses. So they're getting creamed over in the UK, which is, I think, partly to do with incumbents trying to take over some of the market share, which that happens. I mean, hell, Lyft tried to do it; they just sucked at it. But as far as the internal workings of Uber, I know they went through the 180 days of change, and I've really, really tried to have faith in them, but it's just a different flavor of the same ice cream. Um, I have been watching them. I've been speaking with several of them. I've been exploring, like, for example, they have Drive Forward. And Drive Forward is a nonprofit that was set up to represent drivers and help with the legislation in the city and so on. Well, they were partially founded by Uber. And I see that as that's a really strong conflict of interest to say that you represent drivers. Oh no, we're not affiliated with Uber, but we're affiliated with Uber, and we have connections there, and yeah, they were part of our financial. Sorry about that. I just got a ping, and then I had to cancel because it was a pool ride during rush hour. Short buses and helmets, right? But Uber's been doing a lot of, I mean, I won't say insidious tactics because these are tactics that I would have advised for some of the clients. They're just a little bit more blatant about it. And getting to meet those teams and getting to know some of the people that I've been getting to know, I understand why they're doing what they're doing. But at the same time, yeah, they're really making mistakes. I mean, if you want to be a founder and whatnot, you need to disassociate yourself as a financial founder for a nonprofit associated with just drivers. And one of their objectives needs to be to link up with Lyft or the other competitors. But they're not doing that. Okay. And I'm not sure if they're just overworked, and if they're overworked, I don't know what they're overworked with. But I've reached out to a couple Uber representatives in the past 2-3 weeks. No emails back, and I've sent out multiple emails. It's the same thing that's been going on since 6-7 months ago when I first started reaching out to them. And this has been endemic for pretty much everyone except for the higher executive level person I've found. By the way, if I do disappear off here, that's just because I got a ping. But it's endemic. Their culture has not changed. And the UK knows it. I mean, shoot, the BBC was the last vestige of hope for the news up until it started selling out too, just like Fox. But the UK seems to be ahead of us in a lot of ways. And when it comes to understanding who and what Uber is, I think they're on point. I wish they would crack down on Lyft a little bit more, which I'm having to do out here. But Uber having their licenses pulled, that's a good thing to some degree. And it's a warning to competitors. But at the same time, short buses and helmets all the way through. I mean, Uber's not learning. And if they are learning, like let's say this guy, Dara, the CEO, is beneficial to the Uber platform and it's going to change things, right? I think he's going to have a hard time. He basically needs to clean house because the people that they have working there are not qualified for their positions half the time. And if they are qualified for their positions, then they're executing very poorly. when somebody can reach out to 8 different employees and not get a single email back, even just to say F off, that's a problem. And that's an endemic problem at that point. So now as far as their financial status, they're not doing horrible, but they are engaging in unsustainable practices. And I'm not mad at them because I will be probably out of this market by the time they start scaling it back. But long term, for example, they have guaranteed zones. Their guaranteed zones are not sustainable, not long term. I mean, they're still running themselves like a startup. So as far as any investments with them goes, until they get their act together, which it doesn't appear like they are, they're wearing a mask. They're not actually changing anything, they're wearing a mask. And unfortunately, the second they take that mask off or somebody unmasks them, I mean, it's Scooby-Doo 2.0. I mean, that's all it is. They will never exceed their current standing the way that they're operating. They need to think like a bigger company. And that means fewer incentives, realize that some people are indentured to this platform, and move on. They're not doing that. And unfortunately, we're going to feel the results of that in the not-too-distant future, and we're going to continue to see media outbursts. Like, that's just going to happen. There's no way around it. And, I mean, I'm piloting a program out here. After I pilot it, I think I'm just going to abandon it. I'll pass it off to Uber, but there's going to be no reward except to drivers. And I truly and strongly believe that Uber is going to mess up what I'm building. It's a tourism referral program. We carry flyers. After every several flyers that get redeemed by a tourist, we get some for free from that venue. And Uber's going to try to profit from this. And unfortunately, there's no way for me to adequately roll it out, because the one place where I could have rolled it out, they're affiliated with Uber. And that's a problem. So, no matter what, there's no vestige of hope, apparently. This industry is going to change, and it's going to roll over itself. And we're going to be cab drivers 2.0 within 5 to 10 years until we're replaced. Now, self-driving vehicles, those are 10 to 15 years out. I mean, for them to replace us entirely, we've got some time. Go. Alright, I gotta get off here because I've got to ride, but catch you guys later, alright? Drive safe.